That's really interesting. Ollie and I were speaking just earlier about how many footballers, after they retire, something like 10 years after they retire, still struggle so much with money and earning money, because not everyone earns the same wage as Messi and Ronaldo and these Chelsea footballers.
Yeah, and look, there's lots of different, I suppose, traps and lots of different problems that people find themselves in, and that's not just exclusive to footballers, obviously. But yeah, people, the money that players get at a young age can often create a huge set of problems and unforeseen situations, unforeseen by them because they've got no experience, and it's very easy to trust the wrong people. It's very easy to think short term, excuse me, and not sort of approach everything with a bit of not cynicism but suspicion, certainly. And I learned very quickly that I had to really understand what people's motives were, and at the same time understand the value of money. I was earning more than my friends, who the majority were students. I bought my first flat when I was 20, probably. I had a pension when I was 19. I had a savings plan, in my early 20s. So all of these things that you wouldn't even dream about doing as a 20-year-old in most walks of life. You have to really start that as a young player. I sound like I'm sort of giving some sort of careers advice to you. But in the end, it's, to trust the people around you is quite often the worst thing you can do. And that can often be, people really close to you. So taking time to understand the boring part of sort of being successful and looking at how to best protect yourself and insure yourself against sort of the future is absolutely vital. Because as you rightly say, Lucas, there's, most players won't earn enough money to just be able to put their feet up in their early 30s or mid 30s and not have to work again. And equally, it's not good for you psychologically. It's not good for anybody to just feel they don't have any motivation to get up and to work, particularly at such a young age. So there's a lot of things that clubs try to do. I think really that part of the sport still needs professionalising more and better services for players. But in the end, once they're considered adults, they make their own decisions. If they trust the people around them that haven't got their best interests at heart, then unfortunately they find out the hard way.
Did you not find that you had much support with that kind of thing? Was there like advisors and staff at the teams you played at, or not so much?
I just think I was always very aware. I think, being 18, 19, and sort of coming into the profession, I suppose I took responsibility for myself more than anyone else. And there wasn't a great support network out there at all, but certainly some of the senior professionals giving you their advice, I listened to that, from the good professionals that were at Chelsea. But equally, there might be other professionals that are sort of saying, oh, you should do this or you should do that. But, you've got to work out very quickly whether, what their motivation is for that, what their motives are, and whether or not they're doing it because, the agents told them to try and get you to join a particular agency or what have you. So I don't know, I suppose I was always very good at trusting my own instincts and being able to step outside the sort of the profession and just look at life in a way that helped me make better decisions. And sort of I was always very, what should we say? I was very, I don't want to say pessimistic, but trying to be realistic about the chances of making it as a football player and having a long career. I didn't take it for granted. So I was always insuring myself against that eventuality, not just from a financial point of view, but also, I kept up other interests well outside of football because I never knew when it was going to end. And I mean, a case in point was I broke my ankle horrendously when I was playing for Blackburn the Christmas before Euro 96. And I was on this fantastic sort of professional trajectory, got into the England side, was playing every game. We had the Euros in England. And then the Christmas before, freak injury, and ended up, my whole foot facing the wrong way. So that could have easily been the end of my career in my mid-20s. So, being aware of that, but not letting it distract you from your ambitions is quite an important thing to do.
I suppose you're quite different to Mbappe then in that regard.
Yeah, he's a very good football player and he's earning a lot of money. Yeah.
No, more in the sense that I suppose. Yeah, go ahead.
Every player is different, and I think one of the things I've noticed over the years is that, and again, it's not just football, it's this sort of high performance elite athlete environment where you can imagine everybody doing whatever they can for the individual athlete in order to allow them just to focus on competing and being the best they can and all of those things, which is, it all comes from a good place. But if you take away somebody's independence and don't allow them to take responsibility for themselves, then I think you end up with problems. And that for me is quite self-evident. So part of the duty of care of looking after an athlete is to also let them look after themselves. So an example of that when I was playing was that we used to have to give our passports in at the beginning of each season to the club, because they were concerned that some players wouldn't remember to take their passports with them when we played in European competitions. So I point blankly refused that, because I felt that was me losing my sanity if I couldn't remember to bring my passport when I was getting on an aeroplane to go overseas. So I can understand why, the people that were organising our travel and people around the club would want players to do that. But that for me is the beginning of the end of independence. And therefore, when you do stop playing, when you come out of that bubble, who do you rely on to remember your passport when you're going on holiday, when you've got your own kids? So it can be sometimes, but it's it was, for me, it was a line in the sand that I probably wasn't prepared to cross.